Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to Nikki Loves Books. Nikki here, and today we're going to go over my book haul from the holiday season. So that book haul does include 25 books that I got for Christmas from my husband, as well as I think I only bought myself like 3 books, and of course that's because I got 25 books from my husband. I kind of felt like 25 was probably enough. I bought a few other books just because I wanted them, and one of them was actually because my husband made a mistake. So we'll get into that when we get through the books. So we'll be going through the 25 books along with a brief summary and reasons why I picked it up, just in case you want to pick it up. I also am going to be going over, I think I have 4 special editions that I got from Crave in 2022. I was going to include them in one of the videos from last year, and I always forgot. So every single time I saw the special edition books, I was like, oh yeah, I need to, talk about those and show them off when I do my next Crave video. And then every single Crave video I did in 2022, I would forget. So I'm hoping by the end of this video that I will actually remember to show you guys those. We'll see. I'm going to laugh so hard and be so angry if I finish this video and I did not include those books. So hopefully I remember. I do have a little post-it note as a reminder, but with my ADHD self, I might even forget about that post-it note, or I might see the post-it note and be like, what's this? I don't remember. So jumping right in, we're going to go into my 25 books that I received from my husband. So this was an advent calendar that he did. So he did a book advent calendar for me. And before all of you guys are like, oh my God, like I can't believe he thought of that idea. No, I thought of that idea and I just asked him to do it. And that was my gift from him this year. I was hoping that he would just go onto my Goodreads and look at the books that I wanted to read, but I did not own. So my Goodreads does mark like in personal library. So that means I own it. He did not want to put in that much work. I get it. So what I ended up doing was I made a list for him. And this list included about over 100 books that I wanted to read. I did not own yet. And then he could pick 25 books from this list. I did have it broken down into genres. There was a few genres that I said, please only buy 1 book from this genre. It's not a genre that I'm crazy about, but I still like to read books from that genre. So he did end up buying 25 books from this list, following those guidelines. I, of course, let him know that to help with costs, that it was absolutely okay to buy used books, which I try to do myself also. So you'll notice some of the books aren't brand spanking new, and you can tell. You might also notice that there's some library markings on them, and no, I did not steal my books from the library, but it's okay. It's still a readable book, and I'm still going to enjoy it. Let's go ahead and dive into bookish advent calendar that my husband did for me. We're going to start off with book 1 and work our way up to book 25. I'll give you guys a brief summary and or why I chose to pick up this book, just in case you guys might want to do so also. I am going to share the notes that my husband left me on the gift wrap of every single book. Yes, I saved them, and it's because I think it's cute as shit. This is one part of my gift that I didn't see coming. It was my idea to do this. I created a list of books that I wanted, that I was hoping he would pick from. I even bought the damn wrapping paper for him to use and begged him to wrap them, because at one point he was just like, no, I don't think, I'll just hand you a book. And I was like, oh my God, you better effing wrap them. So the first book I received for Bookmas was Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. So Realm Breaker was under my list under fantasy, which fantasy is one of my top genres. So I instructed my husband to buy at least 7 books from my fantasy category. So Realm Breaker was one of them. And the reason being is that I really enjoyed Victoria Aveyard's Red Queen series, which I do recommend. I gave all the books, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, all at least 4 out of 5 stars. I think I gave book 3 5 out of 5 stars, which is pretty damn good for me. So I loved the Red Queen series, and I was so excited to find out that she was actually working on another series. So Realm Breaker was on my want to read list simply because I enjoyed the hell out of Red Queen, so I was really excited to pick up this one. And this, of course, is another fantasy series. I'm just going to read the very short information on the back of the book just to see if it piques your interest. A squire, the survivor of a failed quest, an immortal, timeless, and unfathomable, an assassin skilled and heartless, an old sorceress holding secrets behind her teeth, and a pirate's daughter, the ward's last hope. The heroes are gone, but the fight to save the world has only just begun. So we have a pirate's daughter, we have a sorceress, we have a squire, we have an assassin, and an immortal. Kind of a mismatch group of people have to come together to go on a quest or save the world. For me, I really enjoy books that have adventure, but specifically with characters that you're just like, wait, what? Why are they hanging out together? It always makes it a lot of fun, so I am really much looking forward to reading Realm Breaker at some point, hopefully in 2023. The cute note that I got: when I think about you, I'm not sad. Your husband, Sam. And who knows, I might actually use these as the bookmarks for the books. Okay, book number 2. This is the one book that my husband messed up actually getting. So it's supposed to be The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, but obviously he bought the journal. And the journal doesn't really quite make sense because I didn't actually have the book, nor have I read the original book. This is one of the reasons why I bought my own book. So I ended up buying myself The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, so that way I could still enjoy the journal and he didn't fumble the ball. Along with getting myself The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, I did get Unfuck Yourself by Gary John Bishop, and this was just another self-help psychology book where it says, get out of your head and into your life. I did want to see how similar these two books were, and quite honestly, I do feel like I need to unfuck myself. I'm having crippling anxiety and have been for the past year. Yes, it's related to hormones, but I kind of need to get out of my head also. So The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck was under my psychology and self-help genre, so I asked my husband only to get one book from this section. I love my psychology and self-help books, but I tend to read them a lot slower simply because I want to process and absorb the information. I don't want to read it like I do a novel where I go through it so quickly. When I get to the end, I'm like, oh my God, that was great, and don't retain anything about what happened. So I do tend to read them a lot slower. Sometimes I only read chapter a week in my psychology and self-help books. It's like molasses, which is very strange for me to say. But like I said, I do enjoy them. I do like reading them. This book has close to 1 million ratings on Goodreads, and it is at a 3.9 out of 5 stars, which is pretty damn good. So I'm really excited to read this. I think it's really cool that I have the journal as well, since that was the mistake my husband made. Now, as far as the note my husband left me: you are sweeter than candy. You're big fat baby Sam. And I don't call him fat as in like he's a large man. He's actually not. He's smaller than I am. I am using the term as in like big. Like you are a huge baby. And I call him a big fat baby when he's being super dramatic. It's something usually along the lines of him complaining like, I don't want to cook dinner. I just want to play my video game. Or I don't want to go to the store, it's raining outside. I just call him a big fat baby. It's a playful term. It's not supposed to be derogatory or insulting to him. We usually get a big chuckle out of it. Okay, so book number 3 I'm super excited to share with you guys, and that is Signs of Cupidity by Raven Kennedy. And the title's cringy. I'm not going to cut around that. Like, the title is cringy. Signs of Cupidity. I was originally planning on staying away from this book. However, it does have really good reviews. So it's got almost a 4.2 on Goodreads from 15,000 people. On top of that, Raven Kennedy is also the author who did The Plated Prisoner, which I have not read yet, and I'm really hoping that I enjoy this book so then I can say for sure that I will read The Plated Prisoner. If you guys don't know, if I'm unfamiliar with an author, I get one book from them, read it, and see if I enjoy the writing style or not, and then move forward with possibly getting other books from them. In the past, mistakes were made. Once I find a favorite author, it is very common for me to buy a bunch of their books, you know, multiple series. So I'm really, really hoping that this book is good because I do want to read The Plated Prisoner. Why didn't I choose The Plated Prisoner first instead of this book? And that is because this book got a higher rating. And I knew about this book first, which sounds stupid, but I didn't know about The Plated Prisoner until literally a month ago. And obviously, to give my husband time to buy 25 books, I did give him this list at the very beginning of November. If you guys really are into the romance scene, Signs of Cupidity might be a good choice. It is an 18 and older recommended book because it is also a reverse harem. And from what I gather, it is about a Cupid who, they're not corporal. So she is kind of jaded, upset that she's making other people fall in love, but she herself can't partake in any fun. And she eventually gets a body. So as she puts wink wink bitches, she's going to go participate. So this book probably has a lot of romance and erotica. Obviously it's a reverse harem, so I'm expecting quite a bit of spice. So this book is pretty short, so it's not a huge commitment, but I do know it ends on a cliffhanger. So if I enjoy this, I will be getting the next book. Cliffhangers piss me off, but they also keep me interested in the series. But to be perfectly honest, I enjoyed the character or characters. I'm gonna come back for more. You don't need to leave me on a cliffhanger for me to be like, oh my god. Just write good characters. Signs of Cupidity did fall under my romance and erotica genre, which of course I wanted the most books of. And this was one of the genres that I had my husband pick at least 7 books from. Third note I got from my husband, which was on the outside of Signs of Cupidity, is for you gamers out there will get it. If you were a Pokemon, you would be legendary. Your Pokemon rival, Sam. I thought that was really cute. So Pokemon is a game that I still really enjoy, and that was something that we bonded over when we first started dating. So he's a gamer as well, and I'm a light gamer, so it's not like I'm on WoW or playing Overwatch. I usually play games on my Switch, which include Pokemon games and Hello Merlin. So, and here's my real life Pokemon Merlin. Book number 4, Crave by Tracy Wolfe. I wonder if that's her real name, or if that's an author name, but whatever. It's a great last name. I'll take it. This is not to be confused with the other book called Crave by Melissa Darnell. It's a different series known as The Clan, and it also deals with vampires, but I didn't even finish it. So I did read book 1 and 2 of The Clan, and I wasn't at all impressed, so I did not continue it, and I think I might have even gotten rid of the books. So this is Crave by Tracy Wolfe, which I've heard very good things about. So Crave I chose because it is a vampire book, which I always love. The cover of the book, of course, reminds me of Twilight, which I loved. So I'm hoping that Crave is another guilty pleasure of mine. So this was one of 2 books that I had my husband pick up from a paranormal sort of genre. And our very sweet note from this one was, you make me smile every day. Yours truly, Sam. Book number 5, and this is one of the books that definitely came from libraries. So again, I didn't steal it. This book. So this book is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kimmerer. This is book 1 in Curse Breakers. This book I asked for. It did fall under the fantasy genre, but I was hoping to get this book because it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And I don't know about you guys, but Beauty and the Beast is probably my favorite fairy tale other than The Little Mermaid. But that one's a lot darker. If you guys have any recommendations of a retelling of The Little Mermaid, please tell me. I would love to read a retelling of The Little Mermaid. I don't know if that's a thing. Please let me know if it's a thing. I haven't seen any. But Beauty and the Beast is by far the one that I've seen a plethora of. And I've read quite a few retellings of Beauty and the Beast. So I am excited to read this one. And the note that I received from my husband on this one is, "You're the hot fudge on my Sunday. Love, Sam." I'm actually surprised that none of the notes were like super risque, just because my husband likes to tell me what he thinks is sexy stuff. This is one of the books that I was most excited to get. I'm so happy I finally got it. So Neon Gods by Katie Robert. If you guys have not checked her out and you're really into the romance erotica scene, pick this up. I've heard nothing but good things, especially on TikTok. My third favorite fairy tale, or slash myth, whatever you want to call it. So again, Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid. And then the third one, and I guess all these three aren't even in any particular order. I love all of them, and I would be really hard to pick a favorite. But the third myth or fairy tale that I really, really love is the Persephone and Hades. Maybe I like that the one the most. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. So those are my top three. Neon Gods is a Hades and Persephone retelling, and I'm super excited. I've, again, heard wonderful things. I'm really hoping for some good spice in this novel as well. Mostly I'm looking for a love story, but I love that heat. I'm really hoping that I enjoy this book, one, just for love of this book and the series, because it is the series. I want to read the other books by Kate Robert. There are quite a few that I have looked at, read the summary for, and I am fucking dying. Like, I want to devour these books, and I just hope that I enjoy her writing style, and I hope it's a good amount of heat that I'm looking for, because some of her other books are really taboo, and I want to read them. This, of course, did fall under my romance and erotica genre. The note from my husband on this book was, if you were any cuter, I would die. Smooches Sam. That's one thing that my husband is always saying. Like, he thinks I'm super cute, which I'm like, I just think I'm annoying and weird, but I'll take it. All right, so we're on our 7th book, and this is also from the romance and erotica genre that I had my husband choose most of the books from. And this is Unbreak Me by Lexi Ryan. It's a contemporary romance, and I'm really hoping to like this because I want to read these Hollow Vows. So Lexi Ryan also wrote these Hollow Vows, which is fantasy. It is about a girl who ends up being between two fairy courts and they're very sexy princes. So right up my alley. I actually had this on my to-read list first before I even knew about these Hollow Vows. So that is why I'm going to be checking out this one first, and then hopefully I like it, and then I can move on with these Hollow Vows, because that sounds a lot more up my alley, and I am not shaming contemporary romance. I still enjoy it. I really like the erotica still. I just really like that fantasy aspect as well. So mixing fantasy and romance slash erotica is a great way to get to my heart. The note from this book says, you can have the big piece of cake. Love, Sam. I was so disappointed that he gave me this with this note and there was no fucking cake. But the reason why he put it is because whenever we have a situation where there's like one last piece of cake or one cookie or one last piece of brownie or whatever the fact may be, my husband's always like, you can have it. And it's because he knows it makes me happy. Like, my husband is literally like, oh, there's one cookie left. And he knows I will be so sad if I don't have that cookie. And it's just because I want the cookie. So the next book is the book that my husband chose for my crime, mystery, or thriller genre. And that is Mindhunter by John E. Douglas and Mark Olshaker. If you guys have not seen the Netflix series, I highly recommend it. And I wanted to read this book because of my own fascination with serial killers. And no, it's not because I am one. It's a weird fascination. It's like the destructive archetype in me. Like, I'm so fascinated by serial killers. I think it's also because I cannot fathom not having remorse or guilt around actions. What they do is terrible by all means, and I'm not condoning what they do. But for me, I find it fascinating, just like a lot of true crime junkies out there. When I opened this and posted on TikTok, this got a few reactions from people because the note that my husband wrote just is hilarious. Again, Mindhunter. This book talks specifically about serial killers and sadistic criminals. My husband's note literally says, think of me when you read this. So I don't know if my husband's trying to tell me he's a serial killer in secret, and I just am so stupid that I don't know. I busted out laughing when I opened this after reading the note and was just like, what the shit? My husband kind of played Russian roulette with his messages. He wrapped all the books and then wrote messages after the fact. And he thought, because majority of the books he bought me were romance and or erotica novels, that this message of think of me when you read this would have been on a romance or erotica novel. And instead he lucked out and it went on one of the worst novels it could have, but it's hilarious now. The book number 9 is the second paranormal book that my husband chose for me from that genre, and that is Vampire Girl by Karpov. Again, it's one of those books that kind of has a cringy title and not the best cover ever. However, I kept hearing good things about it, which is why I picked it up. So again, vampires, I'm into it. I love it. But I did shy away from this book for a long time simply because the title and the cover are not great. And yes, I know we should not judge a book by its cover. However, the cover's the first thing I'm going to see. So I kind of feel like covers should be something a little bit better than what this is. Just saying. Regardless, I've heard really good things about this book. This book does have 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads by over 10,000 people. I think it's like something like 12,000. And it also did get nominated for the Goodreads Choice Award under Fantasy in 2016. So I do check the Goodreads nominations every single year to see what people felt was like the best of the genre. And I don't just look at the winners, I look for the nominations. So I think that's where I first came across this book. So my husband's silly note from the cover of this book says, I will try to eat mushrooms sometimes. And then he drew a mushroom. And I'm going to judge and critique my husband's drawing of a mushroom because it does not look like a mushroom. I enjoy the shit out of mushrooms. And when we go to pick meals from Home Chef, a lot of times Sam will say no to a certain meal because there's mushrooms involved. And I get really upset because I want to eat mushrooms. So he is saying that he will eat mushrooms sometimes, and it makes my heart happy. So book number 10 is another book from my romance and erotica genre, and that is On Dublin Street by Samantha Young. So this is another book that I've heard really good things about. I don't even know how I came across it. On Dublin Street has a very high rating of a 4.2 out of 5 by almost 200,000 people, which is really good. So I'm excited to read this. There's also quite a few of them. So this is a series. So this is On Dublin Street number 1. There are 6 books so far. I do believe every single book in this series does focus on a different couple. The setting is always Edinburgh, Scotland, from what I understand. I do enjoy romance series that don't focus on the same couple indefinitely. I just want them to have their happily ever after and move on. But of course, I still want my romance and erotica. So I want the series to continue, just not always focused on the same couple, which looks like On Dublin Street does do that. So I am excited. I'm hoping I'll like it just like majority of people who read this book did. The note from my husband was really sweet. It's just ILY. So Illy, I love you. So we're on book number 11, which is also another romance / erotica. And this is Beauty from Pain by Georgia Cates. So this is just another book that I've heard really good things about, and it's been on my to be read list forever. So this book does have a 4.2 on Goodreads from over 50,000 people. So it's just another one that I'm like, yeah, if that many people are rating it a high score, I'll probably enjoy it. So he's like an infinite bachelor who doesn't like relationships and has all these rules, meets this woman, and he's breaking his rules left and right to be with her. So it's a contemporary romance. The very cute note from my husband on this book was, I would sell my computer for you, your gamer boy, Sam. So that is a big deal because he loves his computer. I was the one who convinced him to get it and put it together. But anyways, so he loves his computer. So it's a big deal for him to say that he would sell it for me. I would never ask him to unless we really needed the money. So book number 12, we're almost halfway through. A lot of you guys are going to be surprised I have not read this book yet. Fangirl by Rowell. And yes, it is a crime. I have not read this book yet. So this is a contemporary romance, young adult, realistic fiction book. And I had this under my fiction genre that I had my husband pick 2 books from. And it is about fan fiction, family, and then first love. And this is another book that's been read by hundreds of thousands of people, and majority of them have given it a really good rating. This has been on my want to read list for years, so I'm happy I finally got it and hopefully can read it. The note that came from my husband on this book is really sweet. This is kind of an inside endearment, and he says, "You are the moon that guides my way, your sunshine, Sam." In all honesty, I should really just rewatch this video every time my husband pisses me off, because then I have the context of like, oh no, he is super sweet. We have all these inside endearments, and he bought me 25 books for Christmas and wrapped them and let me open them up every single day, which, by the way, I would like to point out he wasn't even excited about that. Like, after the 3rd day, like, he was just like, it's kind of worn off, so if you want your gifts, like, you'll have to remind me, because I don't really want to give them to you anymore, because he was like, I don't care. Gift giving is not his love language, and unfortunately, it is mine. We are finally on book number 13, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I just keep hearing fantastic things about this book. There's not another book by this author that I've been interested in. Like, I don't even know if she has anything else out. I'd have to check her Goodreads. I really just wanted to read The Night Circus because, like I said, I have heard fantastic things about this book. I really liked Caravel and Hotel Magnifique, which both had that kind of similar circus feel to it, and so The Night Circus was something that I was always interested in. There's a fierce competition between 2 magicians. Unbeknownst to them, this is a game in which only one can be left standing, and the circus is but the stage for a remarkable battle of imagination and will. And of course, the 2 magicians fall in love, which got me hooked. So it's a love story with some magic and circus elements. And by the way, in real life, I don't like circuses, but for some reason, in fantasy novels, I really enjoyed them. So like I said, I really enjoyed Caravel and Hotel Magnifique, which had that performance, circus aspects, and I'm very excited to start The Night Circus as soon as possible. The note that came with this book was a promise. I promise to kill all the bugs for you. Squash, Sam. And of course, this is the big thing, me being me. I am terrified of bugs. I do not like them. They freak me out. And so whenever I see one, I'm usually shouting for Sam. Of course, when he's not home, I have to face my fears and squish them myself, but especially if they're spiders, I don't want to. So this is him acknowledging that he is the official bug killer in the house, whether he likes to be or not. Book number 14 is Black Ships by Joe Gramham. And this book is from my historical fiction list that I gave my husband. So he was told to pick 2 historical fictions. This is the first one. I don't even know where I even heard about this book, but for some reason it has been on my to-read list for a few years. I've been very curious to read it. This book doesn't seem to have a lot of people who know about it. There's only less than 3,000 people who have rated it on Goodreads, although they did rate it well. I do have a thing for Egyptian, Rome, and Greek historical fiction. Those tend to be my favorite. So this is probably how I came across the Black Ships. A little synopsis from the back. In a time of war and doubt, Gaul is an oracle, daughter of a slave taken from fallen Troy, chosen at the age of 7 to be the voice of the Lady of the Dead. She's destined to cancel kings. In the last shadowed days of the Age of Bronze, one woman dreams of world beginning anew. This is her story. Another cute note from my husband says, I will always make you hot chocolate when you are cold. Love, Sam. Another little inside story about us is that my husband makes really good hot chocolate from scratch, and I don't like making it for myself, but I want to drink it. So often my husband will do me a favor and make me hot chocolate. Book number 15 is the one nonfiction that I had my husband pick out for me. I do enjoy nonfictions, but they can also be trying because my brain mostly enjoys fantasy and romance. And I do find that nonfiction is worthwhile to read. It's just not always my favorite. It can be really dry and depressing too, but of course that's the beauty of it sometimes. So the book my husband picked for me out of my nonfictions was The Color of Water, and this is a black man's tribute to his white mother. So as a little short synopsis, we'll read the back. As a boy in Brooklyn's Red Hook projects, James McBride knew his mother was different, but when asked about it, he'd simply say, "I'm light-skinned." Later, he wondered if he was different too and asked his mother if he was black or white. "You're a human being," she snapped. "Educate yourself or you'll be a nobody." And when James asked what color God was, she said, "God is the color of water." As an adult, McBride finally persuaded his mother to tell her story, the story of a rabbi's daughter, born in Poland and raised in the South, who fled to Harlem, married a black man, founded a Baptist church, and put 12 children through college. The Color of Water is James McBride's tribute to his remarkable, eccentric, determined mother and an eloquent exploration of what family truly means. My note from my husband on this book is, "You can steal some of my fries." I don't think this one needs an explanation. I think most of us steal fries from our partners when they get like fast food. Sometimes I steal fries even when I gotten fries, but some of his fries are better, so I'll steal the better fries. So book number 16 also was another book that came from my romance and erotica genre, and this is Fallen Too Far by Abby Glines. There is actually 2 series, so this is book 1 of Rosemary Beach #1 as well as Too Far #1. I'm hoping that the rest of the books in the series just focus on different couples, but we'll have to read and find out. But this one is a guilty pleasure of mine because this is Step Siblings. It is a stepsister and stepbrother who fall in love as adults. So this one's definitely up my alley. It is obviously a contemporary romance. I'm hoping there's spice, but I don't know if there is. Another cute note from my husband: "You are what I think about before I go to sleep at night." Book number 17 is actually The Martian by Andy Weir. I enjoyed the shit out of the Martian movie, so I was just like, I'm putting The Martian on my to be read list. And so I did give my husband permission to buy me one science fiction book, and this of course was on that list, and this is the one that he chose. So historically I've shied away from science fiction, but then funny enough, all the books that I've read that were science fiction based, I've enjoyed them. So my idea that I don't like science fiction is not true. I think just like mysteries and thrillers, which I thought I didn't like, I think it comes down to the author for me. And I think I'm a lot more picky on what I do enjoy as far as science fiction does. I'm looking forward to reading this because, like I said, I really enjoyed the movie. Majority of the time is that the book is better than the movie or TV show. So I'm hoping that is true here. My cute little note from my husband on this book says, "You are the rarest flower. If I was a botanist, I'd pick you." Book number 18 is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. So this is a fantasy series wrapped up in some folklore. So this is another book that I've heard fantastic things about. It has a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads from over 200,000 people. This was another book that was nominated for a Goodreads Choice Award for the best young adult fantasy and science fiction. And this was obviously another book from the list of fantasy novels that I wanted to read. It focuses on a girl from a village where her people rely on a cold-driven wizard known only as the Dragon to keep the wood's dark forces at bay. But he demands a terrible price for his assistance. Every 10 years, one young woman must be handed over to serve him without questions. Next choosing is fast approaching, and everyone knows that the dragon will take Cassia. Beautiful, graceful, brave Cassia. All the things our female protagonist isn't, and her dearest friend in the world. There is no way to save her. except it's not Cassia that gets taken. My sweet message from my husband is, your kisses taste like peppermints. Book number 19 is another one from our romance and erotica section. So this is Slow Burn by Autumn Jones Lake. And I'm really hoping that this is a slow burn and it's hot and spicy. Anyway, so this is the first book in a motorcycle club romance series. So like the other ones, I'm assuming it's one couple for each book in the series, and they're all related because all the guys are in the same motorcycle club. That's how they're a series. Forced to represent an outlaw biker, a married attorney must come to terms with her feelings for her client while avoiding the dangers he brings into her life. Forbidden all the way around. So not only is she married, she's an attorney and he's her client. So yes, so looking forward to reading this. And it's one of those situations where I'm really hoping I'll love this so that I can devour the rest of the series. So my husband's sweet message is, I can't believe how smart you are. Einstein is jealous. Your nincompoop Sam. I got some brains. I'll say I'm smart, but definitely not Einstein smart. So we are in the last 6 books from my husband, and number 20 is An Abundance of Catherines by John Green. John Green is an author I have read before. I have read The Fault in Our Stars, of course, and then as well as Looking for Alaska. All his books have kind of interested me. They are all something that I was just like, yeah, I can get down. I think all the rest of his books are on my to-be-read list. His stories are interesting. There's a lot of heartbreak. There's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of love. There's just a lot of feelings. I know I cried when I read The Fault in Our Stars. Who didn't? When it comes to relationships, Colin Singleton's type is girls named Catherine. And when it comes to girls named Catherine, Colin is always getting dumped. 19 times to be exact. Now this washed-up child prodigy is on a mission to prove the theorem of underlying Catherine predictability, which he hopes will predict the future of any relationship and avenge dumpies everywhere. So this is a comic novel about love, friendship, and reinventing yourself. The cute note from my husband is, you are so beautiful. Enjoy this book. If any of you guys know me personally, you know that my husband drives me up the wall, but then he does cute shit like this. So book number 21 is Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi. So this book has been on my to-be-read list forever. I wanted to read this book because obviously it's a young adult fantasy series with magic, but specifically it does have to deal with racism as well. So the back of the book says, they killed my mother, they took our magic, they tried to bury us. Now we rise. This book does have a 4 out of 5 stars from over 200,000 people on Goodreads. This is another one of those books that I've heard really good things about and have just never had the pleasure of reading yet. And my husband's message was, I'll be your cuddliest teddy bear. Love, Sam. Book number 22 is another fantasy book that I'm so excited to finally own, so hopefully I can read it. And that is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. Bear and the Nightingale is another book that I've just been hearing fantastic things about. It does wrap fairy tale with the history of pre-imperial Russia. So there is a little bit of a Cinderella here because she's with her father goes and marries a woman. That woman comes in, that's obviously her stepmother, and her stepmother is very mean to her stepdaughter. So there's that Cinderella aspect. Then there's also Vasilissa the Beautiful, which is another fairy tale that includes stepmother and stepsisters. There is magic, so the female protagonist does have magic, and she's taking on kind of the evil step monster, so the stepmother. Fairy tale retelling with mixture of historical fiction. There's magic. There is the evil step monster, and that is all you need to know. So my husband's note includes another wonderful drawing. So you are a cutie, and that's a pie. So I am a cutie pie, which I'll take it. So book number 23, The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. holy fuck, whenever I see the title of this book, I'm like, why? Why did you do this to me? If anyone asks me what the hell I'm reading, I'm literally going to say Potato Peel Society, because the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie, like, no, just too long of a title, people. Anyway, I wanted to watch the movie. I have not watched it yet because I want to read the book first. Because the book is probably going to be wonderful. It's going to be fantastic. It actually doesn't matter to me. I could have watched the movie first too, but I knew it was a book and I was like, I want to read the book. This was the second book my husband chose from the historical fiction genre. So this book is a romance book about two people who fall in love, and I believe they just simply start their romance by writing letters. And I don't know if it's like writing letters and then they fall in love, or if they write letters and then eventually meet and fall in love. I have no idea. But they write letters to each other. He lives on the island of Guernsey, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I could be completely butchering it. But he lives on this island, and this is during World War II, and so they're under German occupation. So he is there on this island under German occupation, and I believe she might be in London, and they just start exchanging letters. I'm sure there's a story behind that, and they fall in love. This is not a smut book. This is just simply a World War II historical fiction romance story. My husband's note is, you are the peanut butter to my jelly. Love, sandwich. My husband has old man dad humor, even though he's not a father. And I swear to God, he's had dad humor since I met him. Book number 24 is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. And I'm so looking forward to reading this book. This is the same author that did Stalking Jack the Ripper, which I'm really hoping to read too. Of course, going to read this first, make sure I like her writing style, then add Stalking Jack the Ripper to my to-be-read list. Kingdom of the Wicked is a fantasy novel that is paranormal and deals with witches. So it says, two sisters, one brutal murder, a quest for vengeance that will unleash hell itself, and an intoxicating romance. Sign me up. I'm here for it. I got the book, so I'm really hoping that I can get to this book in 2023. So his note on this book was, to Best Cat Mommy from Shitlord. So that is another inside joke that he's typically the one who cleans the litter box. I, of course, do it occasionally also, but it is his one chore since I do kind of the big ones, because he does the litter box all the time. And the cats are always like curious on what he's doing. And I'm like, dude, you're a shitlord. Kind of like Star Wars, but shitlord. I was like, you take the cat shit, you're shitlord. Book number 25 is fantastic. I'm so excited that I got this book. I have been wanting it since I read Priest. So, A Lesson in Thorns, and this is by Sierra Simone. If you guys are really in the heavy erotica spicy scene, I highly recommend this author. She is fantastic. I fell in love with Priest, and it's such a hot book that I want to read everything that this author writes. This is basically a naughty librarian. That's all you need to know. Dream job right there. All I needed to know was librarian and their smut, and I was sold. But let us read the back of the book. Once upon a time, 6 children stumbled upon a wild place hidden deep in the moors, shrouded by secrets and fog. There we played a game among the roses and the thorns that would change us forever, that would follow us the rest of our lives. A game that ended with a hard kiss in the rain and tattered flower petals fluttering from above. And 12 years later, we're back. The heir, the dreamer, the priest, the genius, the socialite, the saint. I'm not going to dream of a forgotten place covered in thorns every night. I won't be enchanted by a thorn chapel and its glossy, glamorous people. I'm not going to fall in love or have my heart torn in two. I'm not telling the truth. Because as this place slowly tightens its coils of secrets and thorns around us, as we uncover the knotted mysteries that grow here, the 6 of us begin to unravel into filthy, holy pleasure and pain, fulfilling the promise we once made as children in those whispering ruins and awakening a fate that will either anoint us or leave us in ashes. If you like some heavy, naughty smut, Sierra Simone, I highly recommend. And for the note from my husband, you can share my snacks, Hungry Sam. I get hangry, and so he's always like, here, eat this. All right, and the last book that I wanted to share with you, I already shared the other 2 books that I bought for myself this holiday season. The last one is The Mountain Between Us by Charles Martin. This was another book that was on my to-be read list. It's a fiction book, and I was interested in watching the movie, but it was one of those things that I just wanted a clean slate when I read the book. Flying together on a storm-ravaged night are gifted surgeon Dr. Ben Payne, who is facing an agonizing separation from his wife, and Ashley Knox, a young magazine writer en route to her wedding. When their plane crashes in a frigid and remote mountain wilderness, Ashley and Ben are plunged into a life-or-death struggle. As the days turn to weeks on the unforgiving mountain, the 2 heal from their physical wounds, even as they are forced to confront surprising and painful truths. These intimate conversations and their dependence on each other create an extraordinary bond. Finally, with their survival hanging in the balance, they hatch a plan to escape the wilderness. But as desperate as they are to be saved, Ashley and Ben wonder what will happen to their powerful connection when they return to their previous lives. So I was very intrigued by the story. And again, I was planning on watching the movie, which I still am, but I wanted to read the book first. So that is it for my holiday season book haul. Thank you all so much for being here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to see future book reviews and book recaps. And then, of course, my Owl Crate and Bookish Box unboxings.